Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from YellowCat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. What's the most petty thing a neighbor has done to you? Stole the windshield wipers off my car. I caught him on a security camera stealing them one night. Next day, I went over to his house and told him that some lowlife stole my D wipers. The look he gave me was priceless. Don't think he liked me calling him a lowlife. After I told him I had him on video, he goes, "Fine, take them back." And that was the last time I spoke to him. A dorm neighbor was a huge D and didn't care for anyone in the suite. So he did something like tip over his subwoofer, turn the music up, and left for the weekend. The entire crew could feel it from our beds. I guess he didn't know that RAs have keys to the rooms. Maybe he also didn't know that you could get ejected from dorms. F you, Bosco, you turd. 2 years ago, my husband and I had just bought our first house. I was so excited to finally have flower beds, so I bought 5 purple tiger rose bushes and went out every day to tend to them. Our next door neighbor came over one day while I was watering my roses and decided to be a creeper. Asked if he could give me his number, started asking probing questions about my schedule, like how long I was home alone, and kept hitting on me. I turned off the water and went inside, locked the door, and called my husband because now there's a strange man walking through my yard that knows I'm home alone and won't accept my boundaries. My husband came home and met the neighbor's wife in the driveway to explain what happened and how the guy was out of line. Didn't see the guy again, but within days my roses started to shrivel up and die. I tried everything, but I'm pretty sure he sprayed them with plant killer. Karma's a B though, because he got fired for harassing a customer shortly after and his wife booted him out of the house. He had a tree in his yard that threw a lot of shade on my side, which eventually killed everything that was growing there. So I spent a lot of time and money to plant a beautiful shade garden. He watched me the entire time, asking questions about the plants and how much they cost. The following spring, he cut the effing tree down. Ooh, this is my time to shine. Had a neighbor who was old and had bipolar episodes. My neighbor changed the locks on our communal door, which only allowed access to our flat and her flat, yet refused to inform us that she changed the locks. She then refused to answer the phone to us or let us in, then called the police on my partner when he broke in for breaking and entering. Also tried to get us to pay for the new keys. Same neighbor called the police on me when I was in the bath. I don't know what she said to the police, but answering the door to armed police whilst in a towel was not fun. Her reasoning for calling the police is that she thought I was being attacked and wouldn't answer the door when she knocked. I didn't hear her knock and I was in the bath the whole time, so unsure what exactly she heard. Same neighbor also called the fire brigade to our property twice, claiming we had purposefully started a fire in our flat. Both times, my partner and I were at work and had to come home to check that there was in fact no fire. We couldn't get Wi-Fi installed in our flat top floor, but our neighbor bottom floor could, so we shared the Wi-Fi bill 50-50. Neighbor would turn the Wi-Fi off if we peed her off, if she went away for a few days, if she wanted to spite us. She would change the password and then demand more money from us to change it back. When she moved out, we cleared her flat and found letters from the internet company. She literally took our money but never paid the actual bill. I don't know why they let her have internet for so long, but alas. Same neighbor filled up our own outside bin, then called the council to complain we were overflowing our bin. The council believed her and provided an enforcement notice for causing waste in a communal area. Also, not petty, but proves how much of a D she was. My partner asked our landlord for a private post box as our post and takeaways kept getting stolen from the building with only 2 flats in. Landlord said no because only us and the neighbor live here. Neighbor denied ever stealing our post and takeaways. Said neighbor was then arrested a week later for selling fraudulent tarot readings online, but when the police arrested her, they also found my partner's bank card, which we assume just never got delivered, and many other items that were addressed to us. Police did not prosecute because apparently could not prove that she actually stole them even though they were in her flat. F you, Jane. I was at this neighborhood treasure hunt when I was around 11. It was a big park with lots of trees and rocks, parking lot, and a community center next to it. Me and my neighbor's kid both figured out Final Clue and sprinted towards the finish, only for me to accidentally bumped by his dad and fall. Still salty about it till this day. I live in a townhouse that has an adjacent townhouse on either side. The neighbors on one side are absolutely fantastic. About 2 years ago, there were renters on the other side, where the adult male living there was some sort of tradesman who regularly left for work at 4:40 a.m. Whenever he left, he would slam his front metal gate closed, which would regularly wake me and my 4-year-old daughter. The gate is only about 10 meters from our bedroom windows. I wrote a very polite note explaining that it was a problem and asking them if they could please close their gate quietly. To his credit, he started leaving via the other exit. About a month later, it was becoming clear that my front lawn was increasingly covered in dog poo, so I set up a webcam to see where it was coming from. Very quickly, it became clear that these neighbors were regularly opening their gate, letting the dog out to do its business, and then return home with no attempt to clear it up. I approached him one early evening as the dog returned home from its defecation excursion and, again very politely, asked him and his wife to stop letting the dog leave its business on my front lawn. They denied it, despite the fact that I had just caught the dog in the act and told them that I had video evidence of what their dog was doing. That absolute a-hole decided that every morning he left for work thereafter, he would literally slam his front gate using all his strength. Some people are human garbage. Thankfully, they moved out only a couple of months later. My neighbor would put on house music at loud volume for his stereo, then leave for the night. It was mildly annoying in certain parts of my home. So I bought some Serwin Vega 15s and played the same song back. Literally the same song over and over and over, while I went on vacation for 4 days. I'm not sure who was the bigger D, but we both stopped doing it after that. Later, when he was throwing a party, he asked if he could use my speakers cause they loud AF. About 10 years ago, had a neighbor scream at me because I accidentally went onto his property a little bit when I was mowing the lawn. A grown man yelling at an 11-year-old over a bit of cut grass. Stole my trash bin because theirs got repossessed for lack of payment. Dumbass thought I wouldn't know it was them. Trash collection company took my old trash bin away from them, gave me a brand new one, and gave me a credit for having to deal with all this BS. I had a neighbor who literally thought she owned the actual street and had some big beef with my landlord. She'd sued him several times for things that never made any sense. My landlord installed cameras because she took him to court so often and he needed proof that she was making stuff up. She would mark down the time that I or any friends of mine arrived at or left my house and would sit in her driveway watching us. Once my landlord was going out of town and told me I was welcome to use his grill and have friends over. He lived next door to me. I did so, inviting maybe 5 friends max, and we had a nice mellow cookout. No loud music, no drunken debauchery or anything like that. True to form, the noisy neighbor called my landlord and told him that she was calling her lawyer and threatening legal action over our small party. Thankfully, my landlord had footage of our gathering and deemed it all totally fine and completely within the bounds of what he'd invited me to do. She sucked. F you, Sandra. When I was a kid, my brother and I were playing catch in the yard. Our ball ended up in the neighbor's yard, nowhere near the house, like 5 feet into his grass, and I went to get it. He comes running outside yelling, saying, "If I ever see you on my grass again, I'm calling the cops." No kidding, the whole, "Get off my yard, kid," thing. This happened to me as a kid, but with an opposite outcome. The elderly Polish lady who didn't speak English and I now realize was lonely, caught me sneaking over the fence, dragged me inside for lunch. It was the first time I'd eaten anything besides bland meat and potatoes. So I purposefully kicked my ball over the fence to get some of those awesome pierogies. My mom caught me on a couple weeks in and apologized, explaining that they did indeed feed me, but eventually everyone just accepted that me and Mrs. Z would have lunch every day. Had a weird neighbor. Friendly at first, but slowly got colder and colder. They had the same landlord as us. We were going to have a neighbor's backyard party with us, the neighbors on both sides, and the neighbors across the alley. Only the weird neighbor declined. Everyone was bringing something, beer from across the alley, sides for most of the others. We were hosting, so it was our job to grill some brats and host in the backyard. Had the charcoal grill fired up and put some store-bought wood chips on at the end to give the sausage a smoky flavor. I'm stepping out of the kitchen with a big tray of raw meat when a firefighter pokes his head over the back gate. Firefighter: Hi, we've had a smoke complaint that you are burning trash or yard waste. Me: God, I hope not. I'm not that bad of a cook. Firefighter: May I come in and look at your fire? Me: Okay, let me put down this tray. I let the guy in, he looks at our charcoal grill. Firefighter: Did you put anything other than charcoal and lighter fluid in this? Me: Yeah, some of these wood chips from the grocery store. Firefighter: I hate to say this, but the city has an ordinance against any organic matter other than charcoal in grills. Everyone: What? Firefighter: Yeah, it's a dumb law and almost never comes up unless you are really burning yard waste or if you have a neighbor who has it in for you. I won't give you a citation, but I do have to stand here and watch to make sure the fire is completely extinguished before I go. Me: So I can't grill these dogs? Firefighter: I'm afraid not. I proceed to take the tray of raw meat into the house, pop them in the oven to broil, and come to hose down my grill until the whole thing is cold and wet. The firefighter left with an apology and thanked me for not getting mad at him for the bad news. Only one person within 6 houses wasn't there, and I don't think any of my guests called the FD on our own party. Thank you for watching. Guys, thank you for all the support and the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.